Okay, so we're gonna get started with the new lesson here, and this one's pretty cool because what we're gonna do is take some of what we learned back in CSS3 and use it here with JavaScript. Specifically, we're gonna do some. I called it, I think in the title, I called it responsive animation. But what we're really gonna do is take it so that when I press my mouse on one part of the screen, then that will communicate information to the browser to move a specific item. And I realized, like they say, a picture is worth 1,000 words. I just said a lot to make that happen. So we go back to our familiar list, 4 different images that we just worked with in the last lesson. And now what I'm doing, several things. I'm making it so that I can double click on an item and that item is selected, and then I can move anywhere on the screen, single click, and that item will move to that place on the screen. Okay? Let me move a few of these and I'll talk you through the logic, then we'll look at the code. So double click. One thing that you notice is that the item changes, the color of the border of the item changes to yellow when I double click on it. You'll notice that it changes slowly, which should indicate to you that I'm using a transition. I'll talk to you a little bit about why I did that and actually why I didn't want it to happen this way, and we'll see if we can fix it on the fly. Okay, and then double click. Whoops. Okay, so this is one of the challenges is that I double click on it, turns yellow, and then I can move it anywhere I want. All right, now that's something that did you notice that that moved with animation as opposed to just moving? I'll tell you why that happened as well. But let's just move another one of these. So I've selected it and then moved here. Now in this case, it just moved directly. But if I now move it, double click on it and move it, it moves with animation. All right. And I'll explain why that has happened. But let me just go through some of the code that we're going to use to make all this happen. All right. A couple things I'm going to show you. One is that I try to consolidate my style tags because it's taking up a lot of space, a lot of real estate. Usually what I would do, of course, is have all of this in a spreadsheet, not a spreadsheet, a style sheet, and I would just attach it or reference it like we do with the source code here of the JavaScript page. But I just tried to make it a little smaller, and you can see that if you haven't already done that, I don't like this way of displaying style tags. I like the way that we've usually been seeing them, but you can, of course, make them all on one line like this. All right, so same sort of code. Same code to generate the list. All right, I did change it here, and I made this an on double click from the last lesson, and then I'm calling a thing called move image. All right, but other than that, this is identical to what you worked with in the last page. So when I run this, it generates this list. Okay, couple things. Right now, the default is there is no position, right? We don't say that this one is at x0 and at y0, and this one is at x0 and this one is at y0 and x50, and this one is at this. I mean, the browser knows where it is, but it's just stacking these 4 items. All right. Why is that important? It's important because one of the things I do with my text here is when I click or when I double click on the move image, or double click on the image and call the move image function, this is the code that it runs. So let's go through and see what that code actually does. And again, I'm going to clean this up a little bit. So same as we did on the previous one, I can't remember if we did this or not. I created a variable which is very important, pound image plus m, which is of course the array number that I send it. So in this case, for this first one here, this would be I'm sending it a 0, I'm sending it a 1, I'm sending it a 2, I'm sending it a 3, right? Remember how arrays work. So in this situation, I'm sending it, if I click on the first image, I'm sending it a 0. So now what this does is it creates image ID, pound image plus 0. So all that's going to do, in fact, let me just show it to you. And by the way, I'm sure I've talked about this before, but JavaScript can be a little complicated, and you miss a quotation mark here or put an extra one here. Basically what happens is the whole system doesn't work. So it's really a great idea to test things as you go with alerts. I do that. I'm getting better with regards to not making stupid mistakes in JavaScript. But when you put an alert in, you can say, all right, did I get here? Did I get here? Did I get here through the code? All right, so save work and show web page. Click here. Good example. All right, what did I do wrong? All right, I'm going to pause. Sometimes I just need to show you guys errors so you don't think that I'm infallible as a programmer. Actually, there was no error there. The problem is that I was clicking it to see if I could activate it, but it's a double click. So you see that says image 0, image 2, etc. All right, so let's go back to our code. Take that out, and so now I can reference whatever item that was. I can reference it here in my code, and I've made this mistake at least 4 times, and it's very hard to figure out. Is that make sure when you're creating your variable here that you put pound, okay? Because you can't just put image plus m. You have to put pound image plus m so that this right here turns into the appropriate code to identify that element. So then you see I have CSS border and it's changing it to yellow. Now because I have this transition equals 1s here, it happens, it takes some time. All right, but let me show you what's going to happen if I get rid of that. All right, so now that's what I really wanted, but I'll show you why I included that transition here in a second. All right, so I've identified it. I've got my yellow. Now this is the key thing. All I really want to do really is I want to change the position of this element, right? I want to take the thing that we dealt with, I think 2 lessons ago. I want to send it the mouse click, this event, and I want to find out where on the page on the y-axis, which is this way, where is it? And on this way, the x-axis, where is it? And then I want to send that information and use it to change the CSS, specifically the top and the left attributes of this item. All right, so I can do that, and I have some stuff in here that's, I'm not going to say advanced because it's not so crazy advanced, but let me just take this, copy this, and show you how this can work. So I can just have a let's say click, right? Function event. We've done this one before. Get rid of this. I'm in the, is that right? If that's it there. All right, that looks good. So I double click, and then I come down here and I single click and it moves it over. All right, but look at what the problem is. Now I go over and work with somebody else. Well, this one's still in a situation where it says, well, click, and I'm going to move it here, right? So now I've clicked over here, I can move that, but if I go work with this one, so it created a problem where what I really need to do is once I've clicked on it, it sort of only, this function only happens when I click on it, which is no problem, but then also when I'm done with it, it sort of takes off the event. And they used to call that binding, like you would bind an event to or bind a method, I suppose, to an event. But now they use something called on and off. And so this is kind of cool because it lets you create on the fly a situation where it starts to that the method can be put onto something based on an event or taken off based on an event. So if I go back to my code and what it was, here's where I am. Okay, that's good. So this is what we had originally, and this is probably what's in your sample code. So what I have here is the on method. So rather than saying